This is going to be the top 100 team for Hall of Trials, the Robin plus Kiris version. And it's the same team that everyone is running at the top, but we're going to be a bit lower score, partially because the best setup requires RNG, because 2 Aramintha S3s is 4 burns, plus Robin S2 is 7 burns. There's still 1 slot left for a burn, and the best way to apply that would be Aramintha S1, but it's not 100% proc rate. I'm using Seal of Capture on Robin instead, which is more consistent, but we lose out on Dux Noctis on her, so her burns overall do less damage. That's a pretty big damage loss, and also I'm using double sustain artifact, but this is a more consistent version of it. So these are our units. There's not really any good replacements. All of the replacements would just be a completely different team. There's the version I had with Kiris, Aramintha, Carrot, and Doris, and you could use Suthin. The Yellow Violin is RNG proc chance, and that would let you use Rowana instead, but let's get into the stats for the team members. Starting off is Doris. For Doris, I have a plus 30 Touch of Echoes here. This is just because we kind of really need this healing. Doris has a much easier time surviving, I would say, but a harder time keeping everybody else alive. So we are using Touch of Echoes here. If you don't have Touch of Echoes, I'm not even sure if it's doable, but Celestine is probably the best replacement you would get. And then for her stats, I have her at 124 speed for speed tuning purposes, plus 100% crit chance. With this amount of bulk, I would say is actually pretty close to the bare minimum bulk you're looking for, because depending on RNG, because she has a chance to get defense buff after getting hit by a Dark Ally. If she never gets that defense buff proc in phase 2, she lives with like 48 HP or something. So this is pretty close to the minimum. You can make her tankier. It's just this cleared fine for me, so I didn't bother making her any bulkier. Also, in phase 3, you might have some variance depending on how often you proc a defense buff, whether or not Doris actually gets to survive in phase 3. She dies in my run, but it's fine, because we can just clear the break phase without her, but that's just something worth mentioning. Next up, let's take a look at Kiris. For Kiris, I mainly just gave her a bunch of defense. This is just to reduce the amount of damage she takes, because we're getting healing from Touch of Rekos and Doris passive, the getting hit by Dark Ally thing, where she heals everybody. So mainly just give her 100% crit chance, a bunch of bulk, I would say mainly defense, with 160 speed for speed tuning purposes, and I also gave her Bloodstone to help sustain up, especially in the break phase. Besides Bloodstone, I'm not too sure what you would run besides maybe, like, if you were here for Tori, you could maybe go for something like the Devil. This would be... it increases healing received, so this could be something you maybe look at, but it would be pretty rough. Next up is Aramintha. So Aramintha, I gave her 151 speed, 100% crit chance, and then the rest of the stats mostly into attack. If you have less sustain options, like your Touch of Rekos is lower or your Bloodstone is lower, and your Aramintha isn't surviving as much, then just drop some attack for more defense and HP. Because, yeah, it's just, if you need more bulk, then you need more bulk, it is what it is. Besides that, I'm using Cruel Mischief on her. This is just maxing out her attack. For her E, it doesn't matter too much. I would just say don't use the Detonate one, because the Detonate one makes it pretty annoying to play around. Lastly is Robin. So Robin, I've just maxed out her attack. It's just a bunch of attack. You can give her some bulk if you find yourself struggling to survive as well, with 119 speed. And then for her artifact, I gave her Seal of Capture. This has a 100% chance to land a 2-turn burn after using an S1, and we use this in the break phase to apply an extra burn, because we have 1 burn slot left, like I mentioned. And this is higher damage than Dux Noctis, actually, even a plus 30 Dux Noctis, but that is assuming that you are not using Aramintha S1 to apply the burn, which is going to be RNG, because Aramintha S1 isn't 100%. But this is the Robin that I'm using. That's it for everyone's stats, and now we can take a look at a run.
재미있구나.
So starting off at the CR there, you just want to make sure that Aramintha isn't super far ahead of everybody. You can see my CRs here for reference. As long as Aramintha's not like a couple % ahead of everybody, you'll be okay. If Aramintha is super far ahead, it does kind of ruin the run, but besides that, I haven't seen any sort of like major RNG factors with the starting CRs. Like there's going to be turns where somebody goes first instead of somebody else, but none of it really matters. You can play around it super easily. So we'll kick off by just doing this, and then Aramintha S3 gives us a barrier, which helps with sustain in the first phase. Not even sure how necessary it is, but we have the cooldown, so we might as well use it. And then here we're going to use Kiris S3 and then turn on auto. That extra turn and also giving Robin all that CR push is so that we can basically give Harsetti 20 more CR, which is used later on in the barrier phase. Kiris, we're going to S1 here, and then Aramintha S2 to strip. Doris, make sure you hit the ad here. That's to prep it for the break phase later. And Harsetti cutting Robin on this turn is why we did the Kiris S3 earlier. Get S2 here. Our second strip, and lands our burns. And now we can S3 to detonate. So now we're going to hit the ad 2 more times. This is why we hit it with Doris earlier, because now it's already at 3, and we can reveal it with Aramintha S3. Now I'm going to hit Harsetti to land our extra burn. For maximum damage, you would do it with Aramintha, but RNG proc chance and also way harder to set up. We can extend the burns here and also reveal the ad. Then here, Kiris is going to go, so we're going to skip the hit. We're just going to use S2. And then we can hit the ad. Aramintha uses S2. Kiris at S3 is not up yet, and we have to land final burns anyways. You have to wait for Kiris to extend the burns before we can detonate. And now we can detonate the burns and finish off the first phase. It's worth mentioning that this guy remembers how many hits it's taken, so you might want to reset it depending on your setup. But for mine, we're just going to heal up Robin, and we can auto until the barrier comes up. So this turn here is complete RNG. Robin, Kiris, Doris, any of those 3 units could go first on this turn because everybody's so close to each other. And also, sometimes Harsetti goes after the first unit instead of having 2 units go before it. It doesn't matter what happens there. Like, you'll see different things in your run. I'm just saying it doesn't matter at all. We'll be spamming this one anyways. We can do our first strip here. Also, if Kiris is goes after Harsetti on that earlier turn, then Kiris will also go after Harsetti here, but that also does not matter. So we're going to hit Harsetti. So we got the defense buff here, but it's worth mentioning that without that, I would have survived with 48 HP. Also, we used Doris S2 there, so that we don't have to use her S1. No chance to land blind. We can S2 here. I think we had a defense buff earlier in the run too, I just wasn't paying attention. This turn here is why I mentioned that Aramintha can't be super far ahead of everybody, because if she is, she will cut Robin here in the worst case scenario. Gonna hit the ad 3 times. And we can reveal it with Aramintha S3. Now, Kiris, we're going to hit the ad once. Robin's going to hit Harsetti directly. And then we're going to Doris S3 into Robin. Because the ad is only at 1, so we have to hit it 2 more times, and Kiris is our AoE, so we're going to skip the Doris hit instead. I'm going to do this. Now Kiris can reveal it. Now we can reveal it one more time. We're going to Doris S2 here for the healing. This turn is also RNG. Sometimes Kiris goes first, sometimes Robin goes first. It doesn't matter, because Kiris would just be hitting the ad anyways. Then hit the ad. And now we can extend the burns. Push up Robin. Now let's detonate. We're going to S1 twice. And then we're going to put our Doris S3 into Aramintha. And we can auto until the barrier comes up. You'll notice that Doris is getting pretty low. This is an RNG point, just because sometimes you'll get defense buff, sometimes you won't during those 2 S1s. It's actually, well, it'll change your break phase, whether or not she's alive, pretty much. I'm hoping that she dies, because I have never had a run where she actually survives. I was supposed to hit the ad there, but we can just hit it with Kiris on the next turn. Okay, she died even through the defense buff, so it looks like with my Doris bulk, she dies even if you get 1 defense buff proc, which is good, makes it a bit more consistent for me. And then I mentioned that we have to hit this guy once, so we're going to do that now. So this turn is RNG, but I mentioned at the very start that we need Aramintha to be not super far ahead of everybody. So as long as Aramintha is pretty far in the back, Aramintha shouldn't cut Robin here. Let's detonate. So here we're going to hit this ad once. And we hit it again. This is why we had to hit it earlier, so we can reveal it on this turn. We're gonna land our burn here. So this turn is also RNG. Sometimes Aramintha goes first, sometimes Kiris goes first. If Aramintha goes first, it's not a huge deal, just use S2. And the rest of the fight is like pretty much the same. But since Kiris went first here, we're just going to S2, S3. And then I'm going to do this. I use S2 there because if I S1, then Kiris can't hit. Now we can do this. And then we are going to do this. Our final debuff extension in from Kiris. And we can detonate with with Robin to finish it off. So that's it for the run. Not a perfect setup, like I mentioned. A lot of this here is... I'm wondering if they dropped the healing artifact, maybe? I have no idea how you survive like that, but they could have dropped the healing artifact. And also the runs where Aramintha lands her burns with S1 instead of using Robin is definitely going to be higher damage, because having Seal of Capture on Robin means we don't have Dux Noctis, which reduces all of her burn damage. So that is one thing to consider. So that's probably making up a good amount of this gap. But that's it for this run, and I'll see you guys next time.